Hello gentlemen, how you doing? It's Johnny Berba. I thought I'd answer a question. I got an email from a follower, a fan, a friend. So I'll read the question out. I won't announce his name just in case. He's asked me to make a video on this and I'm going to do the video. So it says, hi Johnny, I know, well, this is not relevant. I know you're very busy. Whenever you get a chance, could you do a video on self-love? I totally agree with what you're saying as far as the impact of the lack of self-love, self-esteem is concerned in approaching, dating and interaction with others in general. My relative failure in approaching and talking to women is largely due to this, and I'd like to know what you have to advise or suggest to us on this particular topic. It's a fantastic question. I think it's the question that everyone should be asking. I think it's a question that I don't think I ask myself it all the time. It's a constant search. Now, I don't want to, this is not criticism, I don't want to be like every other teacher who claims because they're a teacher they've got life handled and they've got full self-love and they never get depressed, they never fall out of alignment, they never have days where they struggle, everything's grandioso. I would be doing you a disservice, I'll be doing myself a disservice. This is part of my congruency, this is part of my self-love actually. So I'm just going to run off the video and I'm going to throw out, they're not even ideas, things I've done in my life that have been true for me, that have taken me from having very low self-esteem to a very healthy amount of self-esteem. I was going to say a high level, but I thought that would sound a bit arrogant. That would sound as if I've completed the journey, which I haven't. But they've really made me like who I am, and I don't know. I just like being me. It doesn't mean it doesn't come with its struggles, because sometimes I'm hard on myself. But in general, I like being me. I'm assuming that this is where you want to get to. You want to get to a stage of inner peace, and that inner peace that you'll attain in yourself will be reflected in your exterior reality, which is getting you better results with women and cutting the bullshit, even getting you laid, getting your relationship, getting you, especially in your dating life where you've got choice in day game, you've got choice of the women that you want to date. So how have I done it? How can we access more self-love? Great question. Right, first thing I found is, to start with, in my life when I felt that I've been lacking with self-love, I've been suffering low self-esteem, or the opinion I've had about myself or my self-image has not been a good one, is when I'm not being myself. And your email's telling me that. Your email's telling me that you're struggling at the moment with being yourself, but that's not a bad thing. Because whilst you're struggling to be yourself, you're actually finding out how to be yourself, I guess, whilst finding out who you are, whilst finding out who you're not. So for me, it's always been about voicing my opinion and doing the things that I want to do in my life and not letting fear take me over. I think fear is the biggest cause of making us feel not loved, abandoned, not good enough, because as soon as we want to do something, it goes bang, it jumps right in front of us, and it's like it's a Grim Reaper with a big stick and the axe thing, and that represents getting uncomfortable. So the way I've accessed self-love in my life, and I continue to do it, is by, of course, finding out who I am, which how I do that is through teaching other people, doing the things I love in my life, having a mentor. I've lost track now, sorry. Yes, getting uncomfortable. I think so many people in their life don't love themselves because they're too frightened of getting uncomfortable. Getting uncomfortable could mean changing jobs, changing relationships, stopping online dating, stop fucking around with Tinder and online dating and go out and do day game. Go and practice stuff I do in my videos, go and meet women on the street. That would be a way to access self-love. Now, you don't necessarily have to do day game to get self-love, because I've contradicted that and said in other videos, you won't find self-love doing day game. But you'll have to do day game to realise that, to find self-love, to realise that it's in yourself. So another mistake you're probably making, and what I made, which is a psychological, a physiological and a spiritual mistake, is thinking that self-love is outside. As within, as without. It's not outside, it's inside. It's a feeling, isn't it? It's an emotion that runs through our body. It's a feeling in our soul and our spirit. So if you're running up and down approaching women, right? Approaching women in hope that they're going to give you self-love, you'll be disappointed because they won't. Because sometimes the women that you're approaching don't even have it themselves. This is the truth. It's been true for me. It's been true for my students. Some of them will have massive amounts of self-love. So not to say that you shouldn't go out and approach women. Do you see my point? So there's a few catch-22s here. But basically what I said was, it usually involves, no, it doesn't usually, let me change that. It definitely involves finding out who you are and being yourself. And obviously the way to do that is you have to get rid of parts of you that you don't like about yourself, that are ruining, that are making you feel shit. And sometimes, and usually that means sometimes losing friends, which can be difficult, I know, but sometimes you have to do it. It means changing realities. Basically the question is, you're asking me how the fuck are you going to change your life? That's the great question. That's the question I had to ask myself, and I was in a pit of depression and despair, and I didn't feel like I had any self-love. I didn't even feel like I had the right to compliment myself, and I was able to get myself all the way out of that and feel really good about myself, and of course that reflected on my external reality. My income changed, my self-image changed, my confidence changed, my articulation changed, my conversation skills changed, my intelligence changed. I looked different, I spoke different, I did different things, I ate different, I went to different restaurants. Self-love. Self-love is about the things we do. The things we do is a representation of how we feel about ourselves. So for guys, this is not criticism, this is me telling you raw. If a guy's on job seekers allowance and he's complaining, that's a representation that there's not enough self-love there. Otherwise he wouldn't be on job seekers allowance. Now I don't mean that arrogantly, I don't mean it like, because I can lose my job next week or whatever, something, and I've got to go on benefits. I've been there, I've worn a t-shirt, I've been on benefits for years. I'm just telling you the truth, you need to hear it. Sometimes the truth isn't nice to hear, because even when I tell it, I think, oh, it's going to hurt a few people, but I just want to help people, because I was in that place myself. So, accessing self-love is about doing the things we want to do in our life. At all cost, losing people, being criticised, being judged, feeling uncomfortable, have to do it, my friend. That's the only way I know how to do it. When struggling with money, struggling with self-esteem, because there's money to be made out there. It's all out there. It's all out there ready. The women are out there. When guys say to me in London, oh, there's just not enough women, it's too hard. Get the fuck out of it. Stop lying to yourself. You need to love yourself more. There's women everywhere. It's nothing to do with women. It's not women's fault. It's your fault. The fact that it's your fault is great, because that means it's your responsibility to change it. Everyone has self-love. We are all love. We're all connected to love. How can I have self-love and the guy down the street doesn't have it? When he's from the same source as me, same substance, molecules, whatever we're made up of, water, we're all from God, we're all from God. So how can one person have self-love and another person doesn't have it? That doesn't make sense. It's just one person has accessed it and the other person hasn't. Again, that's tied in with waking up, being asleep. When I was asleep, I had no self-love. I let people treat me like shit. I let my friends treat me like shit. To some extent, I let my family do that to me, and it's not their fault. It's because that's what I projected. I did it to myself. So maybe, just maybe, you're doing that to yourself. It takes a lot of courage. It's a gradual process. It's very exciting, because I feel when you access self-love, God or the universe or just the way circumstances will work so that you can manage this self-love at a pace that you could handle. Because it's very overwhelming when you don't feel enough, and then you feel enough, you think, wow, this is amazing. So obviously I'm saying to you, you need to take the appropriate action to access self-love. You need to come out of your comfort zone to feel uncomfortable. You need to risk being criticised by people. You may need to look in areas of your life that are not serving you well, that are not fruitful, and you've got to get away from negativity. I know for me, I had a couple of friends around me, I wouldn't mention their name, it's just being honest, and they were really stopping me from accessing my self-love. It was affecting me, because they kept criticising me, they were criticising themselves, they were telling me how bad the world was, they were telling me how shit things were, they were telling me how difficult it was to make money. It was just killing me. But guess what? I was doing the same myself at one period of my life, so it isn't a judgment. I'm just recognising flaws in myself, flaws in other people, and how I can put it right. Funny enough, when I started to access more self-love and build my self-esteem, I felt like I could inspire them more, I could help them more. Just my energy was different, my energy shifted. And your energy will shift when you feel more self-love. And this brings me on to congruency. This same question is all in these things I'm talking about. So, we get what we are. I said in another video, we attract what we are. So if we don't have any self-love, we've got low self-esteem, we'll probably attract people like that in life. And that's not even a bad thing. I'm just making a point. Stay with me. Stay with me. I go out on the street in London, I'll do my teaching, I'll work with amazing people, doctors, lawyers, bankers, creative people, teachers, martial artists, footballers. I'll enjoy that, I'll love that. I'll exchange self-love with them. I'm helping them to access their own self-love. Then I'll go and sit with a homeless person in central London by myself. I don't tell anyone about it, I'm only sharing this with you now. And I'll sit down and I'll fucking give him my love. I'll give him my love, and he'll give it to me back as well, because he's sitting down because he thinks no one loves him. He doesn't realise that's not true. I love him. He doesn't realise that people do love him. I'm walking through Covent Garden the other week. I've been teaching all day, had an amazing day. I was really tired as well. It was freezing cold. I thought, I'm knackered now. I want to get home. I've had a good day. I want to reflect on my day, what I did. I did a great session with the guys. I'm excited about getting home. I've got some new YouTube videos to edit that I want to put up for you guys. And I walked past and I see this guy homeless, and I felt bad for him. I felt pain. I've got to go speak to him. And then he looked strong as well. I got speaking to him. He's a fucking ex-teacher. Sorry, I'm passionate. He's an ex-teacher. He was an intelligent man. He looked me straight in my eye. I like the homeless, because if you ever want to have an honest conversation with someone, and guys, stay with me on topic because this is related to self-love. If you want to cut the bullshit and you want to get around congruency, go sit with a homeless person, look him in the eye, because they're the most honest people I meet. They just tell you life is fucking shit. I don't love my life, I don't love anything, but that is the honesty and the congruency. I'm not saying we want to be in that place, I'm saying it's inspiring or make you appreciate what you have. Because I know for me, when there was moments when I felt that no one loved me, I didn't love myself, I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I had to realise that how blessed I was to be in the position I was in, to have food, to have health, to have family, to have the internet, to have the phone, to have the TV, to be able to get a few goodies down the shop, some chocolates. Look at the homeless guy on the street with nothing. So I sit with a guy, and I forget he's homeless. I get into conversation, and it isn't no longer Johnny Berba, the dating coach, with a homeless guy. I'm learning from this guy. He's older than me. He's from Sweden. He's travelled the world. He was a teacher. He's intellectual. He's fallen on hard times. It can happen to all of us. So I'm not saying it directly, but I'm just pouring good energy onto him, pouring love onto him. So that's another thing I do. To access more self-love, we must give it out more. But it's a bit of a catch-22, because when we don't have it, it's hard to give it out. We have to find ways to access it. Got to come from a genuine place. Practice of honesty, what I teach on my boot camps, what I teach the guys every fucking week in London on my 6-week transformation program. If you want to connect to love, if you want to trust people more and build a relationship, you've got to build this in yourself. You've got to practice honesty. But I love your question. So these are the ways you do it. And it will feel good. It will feel good when you start doing these things. I'll tell you what you do. Follow your intuition. You don't even have to listen to me. You don't even need to listen to me. You can switch the video off right now. Just follow your intuition, because I used to follow that feeling in my stomach and in my heart. It would always guide me towards self-love. And if you go towards the areas that are not self-love and they're negative, which can sometimes be, and I'm not saying you're doing this, I've done it in my life, alcohol, meaningless sex. That's why I said going out and shagging loads of women in day game. There's no self-love there if it doesn't come from the right place, and you're just fucking women to feel good about yourself and to brag and go on forums and write blogs about you've travelled on, you've slept with women, and you're writing a book about it, but you've clearly got no self-love because you've got no integrity. Lots of guys are doing this. I went down that road myself, where I had to pull myself out, and when I pulled myself out of this and I recognised it and I woke up, that was the moment when I realised I had self-love. I'd fully attained it. I may have been dabbling in it. So at the moment, you're dabbling in it, which is good. You have to dabble in it. You have to go on the streets and speak to women and get a number, or kind of get there but fail right near the end. You have to go through that. So you're on the right path to getting self-love. Got to stay on it. Got to go into the dark places. No, teachers don't like to speak about this. I do. Got to go into the places that make us feel ashamed. Got to go into the places that make us feel embarrassed. Got to go into the places that make us feel worthless. Got to go into the places that make us feel, like I said in my videos, if people were to know this about me, they would want to dissociate themselves with me quicker than when lightning, a flash of lightning. That's the places I was at. That's where I found God. That's where you need to do. You need to have some prayer as well. If you don't believe in God, pray anyway. You'll get some luck. Be honest, be good. You've accessed self-love now. You've got the video, I'm here, so you did something right. That's not a joke, that's the truth. You've got someone who loves himself, who loves teaching people and helping them. Your email access self-love. Do you know why I've done the video? I'll be honest with you, right? I get lots of emails and I love it. And I sometimes ain't got time to answer every question, because it would be impossible. I'd need another 30 Johnny Berbers to do it in the making. So I do my best, but I love your honesty. I love the clearness of it. No bullshit, straight to the point. I just honestly jumped out. So you're definitely accessing more self-love, but that's how you do it. You stay honest, you stay on the truth, you go into the areas that make you uncomfortable, you face fear at a pace of course you could handle. You avoid the areas that are not giving you any self-love, which is negativity, which is drugs, which is alcohol, which is a violent, abusive people that are not ready to change, which is fair enough. You pull yourself away, you have a break, and you find it that way, positivity. So many ways we can access it, but remember what I said, as within, as without. It's not outside, it's inside. It's not outside, it's inside. That's the biggest hoax we all fall for in our society. We're chasing it. Let's go on Facebook. Let's go on Facebook and write pictures and put the comments up. I do the same, guys, so I'm talking to me as well. Let's let me buy a £200 Armani jeans so people love me. Fuck that. No self-love there. What's that gonna do? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? But it's nice to buy Armani jeans, because if you earn that money, you deserve it, rightly so. But if you buy an Armani jeans to make people love you, forget about it. Forget about it. Let me fucking go on the internet. Let me tell everyone that I slept with over 100 women so they love me. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? How's that going to inspire people? Honesty and congruence and proper self-love. That's how you help people. That's what I do in the videos. Tell the truth. Sometimes truth is dark. Sometimes it isn't glamorous. Sometimes it isn't fucking Tony Robbins. Let's jump up in the seminar and say life is good, because it isn't always like that. And I do like Tony Robbins. I really respect him, and he's inspired me. And he's done massive things, and things that I would dream to do in my life, and I think I will do. But my point is, this is where I found it. Sometimes I found it in the dark places. I found it in the dark places. It was in the light, it was in the nice places as well sometimes. But that's just how my journey was. That's what. So I sometimes feel that we create our own map. Your journey could be a lot easier. You ask me, I'm telling you the truth. In the dark places, in the places that are uncomfortable, in the places that are shameful, that affect our pride. It says in the Bible, pride is bad for man. I'm too prideful, I don't need to do that. I ain't doing that. I'm not being vulnerable, I'm too prideful. Don't do it then. Low self-esteem, no self-love. That's how I'd have thought years ago. I'm not going to go and sit with a homeless person. I don't want to be seen to be sitting with a homeless person, because I felt homeless. Because I had the self-esteem of the homeless man. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel good enough. I felt worthless. I didn't feel good enough for any woman. Why would anyone be interested in me from a council estate? I'm on job seekers allowance. I've got a low opinion about myself. Wasn't true. But I had to undo that. I had to go into that place to draw strength, to draw who am I? And that's what I'd ask yourself, who am I? All the time. Can you feel how much work I had to do to get to self-love? Now you'd say, makes sense now why Johnny's positive. Makes sense why he gets good results with women. He's been there, he's worn the t-shirt. I am the testimony, as they say. I'm the proof. So you can do the same, and everyone's got it. Everyone has it. Some people just access it more than others. So if you're in a room with someone and there's a person in the room that's more confident, and they're generally more confident. I'm not talking about the fake pseudo confidence you see in the pickup artistry, when you see people completely faking it and they're just all over the place. 56 personalities pretending to be one personality, all shadow sides, which they're not. But if you're with someone, you think, this person's really congruent, they're really on point, really loves himself, loves everyone. He's accessed more self-love than you, he's done more work. Some people born into families that give them more love. Great. But everyone can get there. Everyone can get there. I did it, and I'm still doing it. And if I do get days, because I do sometimes, I told you, I'm still learning as well. I'm a teacher, I'm a student. When I think, fucking hell, I don't feel as good about myself today. Why don't I feel as good? I felt amazing for the last few months. I've fallen out of alignment. I've fallen out of where I was. I'm not doing the right things in my life. Sometimes it can be the case of eating junk food. It can make you feel like shit. It could be where you say, I'm not going to drink alcohol no more, which I'd done for months. And I did break it. I did make a mistake. I'll be honest with you guys. And I felt great. I felt so powerful just for drinking peppermint tea instead of alcohol. That's self-love. Self-love is discipline. Because when you think about it, this is our body. This is what we appreciate. And if we throw junk food down, like, and I'm talking to myself now, shit, you're making me reflect back. I'm helping you as well. So it's good to have more of us. We're all in this together. So if I love myself, but I don't want to drink alcohol because I know alcohol's not good for me. I know that in drinking alcohol, it's going to bring out personalities that are not really me, that I don't like in myself, make me arrogant, might make me cocky, might make me not be myself. No self-love, no relationship with the self. So I've really cut out, guess what, right? I'll share a story with you. Now, I don't think there's nothing wrong with having a drink now and then. I'm not going to get too spiritual on you. I might get a little bit spiritual because I'm half Irish. Doesn't make any sense. See, I'm half Irish. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with having a drink now and then. But yesterday, my friend, my ex-girlfriend, she's lovely, she's a good friend of mine. She invited me round for a Christmas housewarming party. She'd bring a friend, so I brought my good friend Sati with me. And we went there and I brought a bottle of wine for the house for people. I bought a couple of boxes of chocolates to show my appreciation. It was lovely, there was food, there was drink there. Part of me did feel like, should I just get wasted, just have some drinks and just, because put a few of my challenging things that I'm going through at the moment, things that I'm excited about anyway. And I thought, no, I love myself too much. Don't need to drink alcohol. I can connect with the room without alcohol. I didn't have nothing. I had a paper cup of Coke, Pepsi. I had a bit of apple juice, a couple of peanuts, and what else did I have? A couple of bits of bread. Because I love myself. But years ago, I'd never have done that with my low self-esteem, my social anxiety, and I've not been able to operate in the room. I felt self-conscious. I needed a drink to take me into a state. Now again, if you have a drink, it doesn't mean because you have a drink you don't love yourself. I'm giving an example. The things we do represent how we feel about ourselves. So I come away feeling good. My friend doesn't drink as well, he's a Christian. But guess what? I might have a drink at Christmas with my family because I generally feel like having a drink. I feel like it. So we have to ask ourselves, what are our motives for doing things? Where are we acting from? Are we acting from a place of self-love? Or are we acting from a place of self-hate? Years ago when I didn't like myself and I went out to nightclubs and I wasn't actually a bully, I was just a frightened man and I wanted to meet women, I ended up getting into a conversation with a guy and knocking people out, smashing people's faces to pieces. I remember I broke a guy's nose because I didn't love myself. And I didn't understand how to express. I needed help. I was 22 years of age, I was insecure. And I walked in the club, I wasn't starting anyone, I tried to dance with a girl, and he came by and he pushed me. And if that happened to me now, someone pushed me, of course I'd feel anger, but I'd handle it in a better way. I'd speak my way out of it, because I love myself. Unless I had no choice, I was getting attacked, I'll defend myself, of course. So, can you see what I'm talking about? It comes down to the nitty-gritty. The way we make decisions in life, it is a reflection of how much we love ourselves. So that's what I'm going to leave you with. Now, that was deep, but I need to give you the truth, and that's how I did it. And I continue to do nice things in my life, and I try and get myself, I don't try, I actually do it. I get myself around amazing people like you guys that are all on the path to continually finding self-love and acting from a place of self-love. Doing this video now, this is self-love. I love to do this. I get great joy. This represents honesty for me. This represents God's work for me. This is what God wants me to do. So I feel good doing it. I know it's good. I don't come away thinking, oh, I'm feeling rubbish. Like if I eat a hamburger now and then, which I do, I feel a bit sluggish. So I'm still working on my self-love, but so far I'm in a great place. I really like being myself. I like who I am, and my exterior reality has changed because of that. So keep working on yourself, keep doing the approaching. Just remember the things I said, and you're going to find your own ways. Remember, you are the teacher's in you. I can only point you, guide you, inspire you, irritate you, agitate you. Maybe I might piss a few of you off, good, no problem. You may not like what I'm saying, I might inspire a few of you, but you'll get there in the end, because you'll realise it's inside, as within, as without. It's inside, it's internal. Internal, external, both connected. So I found a lot of self-love from when I talk to the homeless people. And I don't do it because I want a fucking pat on the back. Because when I've done loads of this, you guys don't even know about it. I've done loads. I'm just saying it now in the video because it's very relevant and it makes me feel good, selfishly, and it helps the person. I've made a few homeless friends as well. And I spoke to a guy before, an Irish guy, an awesome guy in Paddington, who was an aspiring writer, a very talented writer. And he said to me that the BBC were looking at his script. I haven't seen him for a while, but I was seeing him regularly. And he's such a nice guy, he didn't even want the money from me. I just give him a £5 now and then, or bought him a meal. Most times, you know what? He didn't even need the food from me because he's such a lovely person. He always had food bought for him. He had good energy. He didn't ask me to come up to him. He didn't beg me for nothing. I felt a compulsion to go and speak to him. And I just had a great conversation with him. We just connected man to man. I forget he's homeless. And then he says to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a dating coach. I do stuff on YouTube. He's like, oh, that's amazing. He starts giving me tips on my business. That's incredible, isn't it? A homeless man's giving me better tips on my business than if I probably go and pay some business consultant who's going to try and maybe get money out of me. I'm not saying they're all going to do that, but I'm making a point. So I like going where it's honest and where it's raw and where it's dark, because that's where I draw the truth from, I draw the honesty from, and then I can continue into the light. All right? Enjoy the process and access the self-love in yourself, because that's the place where it's to be found. But what will be stopping you getting the self-love will be fears, insecurities, and lacking discipline in your life, all right? I'll see you soon. Bye. Pleasure.